Thank you. There it is. Welcome, community members. All right, call to order. We're going to verification of a quorum. We have 4 trustees present. This meeting is commencing. If security would please allow the man who was escorted before the meeting back into the room, that would be, they are allowed back into the room. Oh, great. They're never removed. That's about the level of service experienced by this Board of Trustees so far. I am glad you're able to attend the meeting. And I would appreciate that the community allow fellow trustee members the opportunity to prepare for the meetings undisturbed, as multiple requested multiple times. Okay, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's no public comment in a special meeting.
There's no public comment right now, sir.
Special meeting.
You are not recognized now, and if you don't step away from the microphone, I'm going to ask security to take you out, sir. Sir. I will give you 2 warnings because I really want you to be in attendance for this meeting, sir. I've honestly spent a lot of time on your emails. Didn't sleep a lot yesterday because I was doing research, and I would appreciate if you would listen to the board conversation. I think you might be even pleased.
Chairman McKenzie, may I speak, please?
You may.
I see.
As a board of trustees, you are recognized.
Thank you. I see so many people in our community. I'm flabbergasted. I'm just shocked. Look, there's a line of people that I believe you must be in line because you want to speak.
Yes.
Well, gee, Terry, if we'd have recruited our people, we'd have had 50 people here too, but we kind of gave them the Saturday off.
Oh, if you recruited, I think you have.
Okay, I am chair, and you are welcome to try and remove me as chair, but that's not going to work, I don't think. So, this is how it's going to work. If you don't sit down, if you want to stay to the side, but if you don't step away from the microphone, sir, when other people, I think we may request of them to speak to that microphone. I want to be prepared, want them to have their safe space, 6 feet, whatever, however you want to describe for security. I'll leave it to security to be in charge of that microphone and its space. But if you don't step away, I will ask security to leave. No, that is immediate, sir. I have warned and spent enough time with you. Okay, security, I did not want to do this. Please remove this gentleman and the next person who doesn't step away from the microphone.
Chairman Mold, can we find some way to perhaps let
It is
by lottery
McKenzie.
a few people?
Wold was the
I'm sorry,
previous
Chairman
one.
McKenzie.
Nice. That was nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So, security,
Is there an opportunity for a few people to speak? We can't possibly allow all of these people to speak. I'm asking you.
It's not on the agenda. Not on the agenda.
Security, if you need to back up, please call for the city police or the
Can
sheriff
any of the
if
other
you need it.
trustees possibly see in your heart to let some of the people from the community speak? Is any trustee here willing to make a motion? All right, I'll make a motion. Can we allow maybe 4 or 5 people to speak for 2 minutes? That's 10 minutes out of the day. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
so what we're looking at here is those in our community that if you're the loudest and you're the first to get to the podium, if you want to do something, if you see by doing that, Trustee Zimmerman, we're allowing essentially the loudest bully in the room to get their way. Because I can guarantee, listen to me, please.
Mr.
I can guarantee that many other people in this room want to also do public comment, and I would love to hear from them. One gentleman just stood up. I'm not even going to ask people to stand up.
I asked you to randomly select
And
4 people.
there is a mechanism to provide public comment. The board at nic.edu, I read all of them and I try and respond to as many as I can. Public records request me. I will not allow this bullying to continue.
Mr. Chair,
We're going to recess right now for 10 minutes. do I have to say the meeting is commenced again?
Resume the meeting.
Okay, the meeting is resumed. Okay. So, no, I'd like to run the meeting. Thank you. So, for those on Zoom who cannot see around the room, what we have is would you estimate your crowd size? Well, you have, forgive me for being inaccurate, but 20 people on the side of the room who would like to stand and do public comment. And, but during a special meeting, there is no public comment. And no, in preparation for this meeting, I did not observe any requests from the public to have public comment in this meeting. It would have been nice to email the board so we can prepare. So, in the interest of board business, we are going to continue this meeting. It may be a bit rowdy and noisy, so I ask all of my trustees to speak into the microphone. And we shall commence the meeting. We have done call to order, verification of quorum, and pledge of allegiance. Action discussion. We are moving to president's contract. So I have a report to do. Where's my notes? Not that one. That's your statement. Where's the contract negotiations?
I don't know. You could just shorten it up and.
That is. No. We may have to take another recess or juggle the agenda, but there should have been 3 emails printed for the Board of Trustees. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you. So the fellow Board of Trustees were communicated with attorney-client privilege before the meeting starts, and I tried to get it as soon as possible, but it came around 1:30 today. And the report of this communication that the motion from the other night of Thursday, I believe it was the 8th, was, I actually shall read that motion. The authority I've been granted by the Board of Trustees is as follows. Motion that the board chair, with assistance with legal counsel, to contact Dr. Sabali to see if he would be willing to be acting president and provide the board chair authority to negotiate an acting president and/or board consultant contract. So that would be the topic of discussion for today for this agenda item. Unless, Trustee Zimmerman, you seem to not be aware of the topic of that agenda item. Would you like to say anything?
I am trying to find the document. I've been handed so much since I arrived that you
Yes.
just read from.
It's supposed to be printed out.
Oh, I don't think I have this. Oh, and, okay, and this is what you want to disclose in the meeting? Okay, yes, that's fine. I think it's a good idea to disclose this.
Okay. So, I will describe my process of negotiation with Dr. Sabali. Was I emailed him directions of what I would like to present to fellow board members. And I stated my intention to negotiate publicly at the board meeting and how that would occur. And do any of the trustees object to that, releasing that attorney-client privilege for those communications of those contract negotiations? I hope everyone had time to review and properly. We can recess another 10 minutes if that would help. I think only time would help calm the crowd. Okay, so with no objection, maybe I read it, or?
I'm not sure which, it's this negotiation right here, right? Here that you're talking about? I mean, or is it-
Yes.
Okay,
Well, probably even all down.
you're going to read all of that.
Good.
Can I get a copy of that at some point? I don't think I have one.
Here, would you on the email? So, we shall release this and even append it to the board packet for today. I'm sorry that keeps happening. But in the interest of transparency, I could not really get a vote of doing it before. So I shall read my negotiations with Dr. Sabali. Dr. Sabali, I've confirmed your interest through a brief phone call, and I appreciate your willingness to assist North Idaho College during this trying time. Public transparency is vital to our board governance standards of accreditation and essential to how a board should operate. With your permission, I intend to make this letter of negotiation public and have this process be as transparent as possible, and any negotiations done. We shall orderly exit the buildings. Please be safe. Recess for 20 minutes. Back on. All right, we are reconvening. The meeting is commencing. Okay, back to the agenda topic. It's about a president's contract to provide leadership to this organization. Here we go. So back to my reading that with unanimous consent of here, attorney-client privilege has been waived, and this is now a public record, which is Dr. Sabali. Chair McKenzie has drafted this email for you, and please provide, well, we don't need that part. Dr. Sabali, I have confirmed your interest through a brief phone call, and I appreciate your willingness to assist North Idaho College during this trying time. Public transparency is vital to our board governance standards of accreditation and essential to how a board should operate. With your permission, I intend to make this letter of negotiation public and have this process be as transparent as possible, and any negotiations done be at a board meeting in public session. There is a Board of Trustees meeting noticed for 3 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, December 10th. Prior to that meeting, I and our legal counsel may send to the other trustees to consider what you please propose an interim president's contract. Sorry, I read that wrong, but you can get to it. Please include a stipulation for changing roles to that of a board consultant when you are no longer needed as acting president, which length of time solely depends on an ongoing investigation. The action taken to place President Swain on administrative leave and allow an investigation to occur at the special meeting last night, occurred at the special meeting last night. The authority, the authority I have been granted by the Board of Trustees is as follows. Motion that the board chair, with assistance with legal counsel, to contact Dr. Sabali to see if he would be willing to be acting president and provide the board chair authority to negotiate an acting president and/or board consultant contract. I understand this legal task of proposing a contract is difficult, so please communicate with NIC's attorney, Art McIver, for any legal clarifications needed or seek advice from your own attorney. Start with your previous contract as interim president from the fall of 2021 and provide justification for any additions or subtractions you would like to see made to the previous contract. For example, I recall your previous salary was $180K per year. So if you wish to share an increase to that salary rate to make coming back to NIC worth your time, then no, this is great. I just,
Mr. Chair, if she doesn't sit down, have her removed. And you can remind her that President Swain was a base salary of $230,000.
Here we go.
okay. So for those on Zoom, I'll summarize. There was a lot of outcry from the community about a salary of $180K per year. And as stated, share an increase to that salary rate to make coming back to NIC worth your time. Then please state the reason for the justification for our consideration. But just to alert the whole community, Dr. Swain, who is currently making $230,000 as a base salary, with $100,000 more in extra things, but we shall keep reading the meeting. For example, I recall your previous salary was $180K per year, so if you wish to share an increase to that salary rate to make coming back to NIC worth your time, then please state the reason for the justification for our consideration. You have unique institutional knowledge of NIC's trials at hand and are aware that the time in this acting role is unknown based on so many variables. I also understand the previous contract clause for your future at NIC post-tenure as interim president was not upheld. The unprofessional post-treatment you received and the hours of vacation and other leave time you lost would have anyone, not only you, be cautious of another interim contract. There are many unique factors pertinent to your situation. If you are willing to take your previous contract as is, then no changes or justifications are needed, and we shall discuss your existing public contract at the special board meeting tomorrow. I understand these are more challenging times and circumstances that may warrant changes to the contract needed from your perspective to consider a return. You must be aware of the full picture. NIC's employees are already discussing votes, multiple, singular, of no confidence in the Board of Trustees. This action only increases any acting president's already difficult task at hand. We are looking for a unique leader. My and many other thoughts are upon you as you make this difficult choice. NIC is not unique, having a president on administrative leave and having to hire an interim president, for example, Clovis Community College. NIC is unique in the way that it is beloved by its community, and hopefully that fondness can encourage you to come back to NIC. You must do what is right by you. I and my fellow trustees must do what is best for the college. Hopefully we can find these two matching interests are able to align to support NIC during this difficult time. Respectfully, Chair McKenzie.
Your attorney failed the California bar 5 times.
I would never make fun of somebody who never gives up. Art, this is his reply back. Today at 10:51 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now the crowd got quiet. Art, I respectfully decline this opportunity. Art, I respectfully decline this opportunity. I believe this position lends itself to great opportunity, but also has great risk, not only to the institution, but the individual, professionally and personally, that takes it. I have a young family, and I know the spotlight this position will be under, and that the opportunities to have any great success here will be limited because of the current climate. I am seen by many as the enemy, and all I ever wanted was to build. I am seen by many as the enemy, and all I have ever wanted was to build consensus. I could only take this position again if I truly had the whole board behind me, and I do not feel this is the case. In my previous time as interim president, many trustees took to the public sector to criticize me. And in seeing the articles covering the special meeting you had on Thursday, it appears a trustee did that again, calling me nothing more than a bestie, in quotes. In other words, the risk-reward element does not make sense for me. I do care about NIC and the community. I love NIC and enjoyed my time. If I can offer assistance to the board or who they choose navigating the difficulties ahead in other ways, please let me know. Sincerely, Michael Zabalik. And then later after that, you can share my original email response with the public below if you choose. If the board would like me as a consultant, I would be willing to do so at a rate of $200 an hour. So.
Did we get a separate copy? No, I didn't get it.
So, fellow trustees,
Mr. Chair, if people are
Trustee
gonna have-
Banducci,
Mr.
you are
Chair,
recognized. Please
I would
lean
like
into
to
the
call for-
microphone and speak.
I would like to call for security for the public outbursts, people standing. Can we please identify those? It's disruptive to the meeting, it's impolite, and it's just rude.
Trustee
Why do you have to be
Banducci.
So ugly.
Trustee Banducci, I can respect your opinion,
There's been none.
So, moving forward and continuing the meeting, which will commence. Do fellow trustees have any motions or guidance or discussion of what we should do for leadership at this college? So currently, for the community to be aware, we have co-leads going on, and that will be a topic of chain of command in the future. But currently, we have Sarah Garcia and Lloyd Duman, who are co-leading right now, and I think the board,
Chairman.
on behalf of the board,
Suggestion.
thank you very much for stepping forward in this trying time,
Chair McKenzie.
both of you. Trustee
I
Zimmerman.
do have a suggestion, and I think my suggestion is that we rescind taking President Swain out of his role and return him to his role.
I do not hear a second to support that discussion. So moving on, do any other trustees? We're going to take a recess for 5 minutes. Thank you. The meeting is reconvened. And as chairman, I would just like to say that this board, under my chairmanship, shall not be intimidated, and we shall commence the business of the board. Trustee Banducci,
Did you discuss this over there, all three of you?
during the recess, you indicated to me that you wish to be recognized and that I made a mistake in not recognizing that you had your hand up or something. It is a loud crowd. Forgive me for not recognizing you. You are recognized and you have the floor.
Wow, some of you really are special. You know, actually, the women are scarier than the men. But I don't know that your men are real men, so sometime hopefully they'll prove it. But the women are the tough ones in the couples here, it seems.
Trustee Banducci, perhaps you should stay on topic and not engage with the community in that way.
Well, then maybe they should be quiet or be escorted out. We should
Not
be there
that.
already.
It's your
Trustee Zimmerman.
responsibility.
Please allow Trustee Banducci the floor how he wants.
Mr. Chair, at the last meeting on December 8th, this board motioned for you and Mr. Mackenber to work with Dr. Sabali on a contract for him to become the acting president. On Friday, Steve Kurtz, NIC's accreditation liaison officer, notified you that with the requirements that are in place, that we need to maintain continuous leadership. So that's why we had a meeting today, was to move it up from Monday to today and try to address the business of the college as soon as possible. So and then we were just notified earlier that Dr. Sabali was not interested in taking the position. So I've been trying to, was thinking about the road forward from here and what I consider to be best for the college. And trying to consider leadership that might be able to move our path in a positive direction, possibly with some consensus. I have some information on someone who did previously work at this college, and I believe has the experience and background that might be helpful to do this.
Keep going, you're doing great.
Mr. Mackenber, under attorney-client privilege at this time, would you please give those to each of the trustees? In thinking about who I think could lead this college, and what you have in front of you is a old resume that I had in my possession, that I have in my possession for your review. I said to get my hands on. I've had it for a bit. I'd like to point out a few highlights of this individual's credentials while you're looking. They have a PhD from the University of Idaho in education, leadership, and performance and sports psychology. They're a Harvard grad in School of Education in Management, Leadership, and Education. Has 10 years as a vice president, almost 10 years as a dean, also has time as an acting president, has been a vice president of instruction, has been a vice president of student services, has also been a dean of career and technical education. So an amazing resume, in my opinion, tremendous experience, type of individual that could lead this institution going forward. He has overwhelming credentials and is overly qualified for this position. Well, that's what we're going to find out. I would ask that I would make a motion that the board chair and the board attorney reach out to this gentleman to see if he is interested in the position. And if he is interested to see if you can come to closure, an agreement on a contract, and come back and report to us in a special meeting on Tuesday night.
Another special meeting means they're supposed to be ephemeral, which means that they don't happen all the time. That's why you have to notice them.
So again, my motion is that the board chair and the board attorney reach out to this gentleman
You failed the bar 5 times.
to see if he's interested in this position. And if so, if you can negotiate a contract with this individual and report back to us in a special meeting on Tuesday night. It's under president's contract. It's for a president's contract.
And there was nothing else disclosed on the contract. And why are we actually looking at a resume for this position when Art McComber didn't even offer a resume and we didn't even look at it? So I'm confused.
Mr. Mi- Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci.
do you have my motion, or are there any questions on what my motion was?
Answer her question.
Well,
I'm
Terry
I'm open to,
Terry spoke out of, we haven't got to discussion yet, so she spoke out of turn, but that's fine. So, major
Trustee
motion,
Banducci,
Chair.
we don't need to address the crowd.
Mr. Chair.
So Trustee Banducci, you have the floor and my attention on the matter. I was looking at,
Well, I've given the resume that I had as a, for informational purposes to the board members.
okay? Okay, well, and about this individual, you had a motion?
I did. I'm looking for a second, sir.
Would you please state that motion? And I can. Motion,
My motion is that, my motion is for the board chair and the board attorney to contact this individual to see if they would be interested in this position. And if so, attempt to negotiate a contract and come back to us on Tuesday night
If you're making offers, we need to know who
for a special meeting on Tuesday night.
we the people.
motion for the board chair and for the board attorney to contact this individual and see if they would be interested in agreeing to a presidential contract, if they would be for the, and motion for the board.
Mr. Chair, may I speak? No, I don't need to.
I believe there will be a second if I could write it down. With the crowd, it's a bit difficult. Motion for the board chair, for the board attorney to contact this individual and see if they would be interested in agreeing to a presidential contract. Interim president.
Chair McKenzie,
See if they would be interested in,
why can we not disclose the name of this individual?
well, Trustee Zimmerman,
Well, two reasons, I suspect. One is to not disrupt his life until we find out if he's even interested. And secondly, with the knives that have been out, do we really want to have somebody out there being attacked? That's why his information.
may I offer a compromise,
Provided.
Trustee Zimmerman? I just read my negotiation, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. May I contact this individual in that same process, but we don't have a, well, I'll start with the same contract, and if he wants different, he can justify his reasons. Start with that same manner and work to get it in the board agenda packet.
My
fine.
concern is that from looking at this, he's known in the community.
He is?
I would say that he's well-known in the community.
He is? I don't
don't
you know,
think so.
you know this individual?
Well, I'm just looking at his professional experience.
Oh, well, I highlighted 5 of them, the PhD from the University of Idaho,
Well, that's not
education,
experience, that's education.
leadership and
Professional
performance.
experience, 2021 of fall, Dean of Instruction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, perhaps this individual is someone that someone might like.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Well,
We need to find out if he's interested first. That would be helpful.
So there's been no contact made with this individual prior to this moment by you or any other trustee?
There's been no negotiation with this gentleman. or
I
any
said
other-
contact. I did not say negotiation, I said
okay.
contact.
I'm bringing the meeting back to order. So there's a motion. We're looking for a second. I would like a motion for the board chair, for the board attorney to contact this individual and see if they would be interested in this position. I would like to.
I have not seen this before.
There's 2 things on my mind, Trustee Wagner, if we may.
Go ahead.
I would like to do one more recess for 5 minutes for Trustee Banducci to work with Art McAmer on a proper motion. And I would also like to talk to our co-leads of the college to sense the urgency for solving this, putting this presidential contract in place. So, as board chair, unless Trustee Wagner has something he wants to say, we shall take a recess for 10 minutes.
I would just like to add that I would like to see perhaps more than just one resume at a time.
I don't,
All right.
Due
So,
process.
Trustee
does not
Wagner,
pick and
would you like
choose.
to say anything before we recess?
No.
Board, the meeting is recessed for 10 minutes. The meeting is reconvening. Please step away from the board. Okay. Thank you, everyone who's braving this experience. Okay, hopefully you have a board motion that I can write down quickly and we can get on to topics at hand.
I make the motion, board chair and board attorney reach out to this individual to see if they're interested in serving as acting president of NIC.
Hold on, too fast. Rehash this individual. Keep going.
As acting president of NIC, if interest exists for the board chair and the board attorney to negotiate a contract and bring it to the board, if they're able to achieve if able to negotiate a contract, and if possible, bring it to the board for a special meeting on Tuesday night, 12/13.
Can you take out the Tuesday night? Because I'm hoping to have discussion on that.
12 on a special, back at a special meeting on, remove the day or the date or both?
Even the special meeting, how about just bring it to the board?
Bring it to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion for the board chair and the board attorney to reach out to this individual as acting president of NIC if interest exists for the board chair and the board attorney to negotiate a contract and bring it to the board. Is there a second?
For the sake of discussion, I'll second it.
Heard about this guy the first time tonight, and you're talking about negotiating a contract? Illegal agenda item.
You're asking Sunday morning big swing back. You guys just gonna ignore the voice of the students?
Thank you for the reminder. Does all of our board members have a copy of that ASNC resolution?
Why are you responding to the crowd?
Would you please hand out to each of us board members to ensure? Deal the motion at hand. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, take the motion in hand, please.
But, well, he's ASNC president. He gets to hand out if he wants. If you want to hand out, please.
He can handle it.
Yeah, now we're on discussion. So we will address that after the motion. Thank you, sir, though. Back to this motion before the board chair. I'm actually, after the recess, I think we're going to do it after the motion. But if you want to hand out to us, you're invited to by the board chair. Thank you, sir. Actually, this is a good idea. So
This is for interim president, correct?
I said acting president,
Acting?
yes.
That's the same thing as interim.
it,
I think words are pretty important, so I'd like to be clear, acting, interim.
We can make
Should
it
be
interim.
interim.
Interim would be fine. Interim
Thank you.
president.
We don't want Greg's house, so that's Greg's house.
that would be a friendly amendment, is what you're proposing.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment. Thank
Yeah, I
you,
like that.
Trustee
Thank you.
Zimmerman.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Chair, I can restate my motion.
well, I don't think you
Okay.
you have to. We're in the process of amending it, and I second that motion. And if all, so I shall state your friendly motion. Motion for the board chair and the board attorney to reach out to this individual as acting and/or interim president. Does that
Make it-
provide flexibility? Not what you wanted?
Just interim.
Just interim. As interim president is the second. So there's that's the amendment. and I seconded that amendment. Now we're going to vote. Do all the fellow trustees, all in affirmative of saying this friendly amendment, say aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Vote on the amendment.
Aye. That would be 3 ayes. All those against this friendly amendment that trustee Zimmerman proposed?
Nay.
Is nays her own amendment that you propose? Okay. The motion as it is now on the floor, motion for the board chair and the board attorney to reach out to this individual as interim president of NIC if interest exists for the board chair and the board attorney to negotiate a contract and bring it to the board. Is that the motion that you were intending for, trustee Banducci, or would you like to propose an amendment? I think that,
Just so you guys know, the person being considered was a guy named Gregory South. If you want to look it up, based upon the little information we have, it's Gregory South.
so I'm going to propose a friendly amendment that I think would just give us flexibility to make this succeed. I'm going to make a friendly amendment that this individual as interim / acting president. Actually, you know what? I retract my own proposal. So I think this, any other discussion on this topic, trustee Zimmerman, trustee Wagner?
The purpose of this is to put someone in place while you review the contract for Dr. Swain. I continue to say Dr. Swain should be brought back to this college to serve in the role that he was hired to do.
Thank you, trustee Zimmerman. In response, there are extremely time-sensitive schedules that are, but it didn't get a second. So it is amended to here. Yeah, we're gonna, I think trustee Wagner has something he wants to say, though. There are, while I would like that to see that happen as well, and I hope this investigation wraps up quickly, it would definitely wrap up quickly.
I call for the question.
Call for the question.
Call for the question.
So trustee Wagner has something to say before the question that I want to give him the
Okay.
floor. But I would just like to say, accreditation does not like having
A vacuum of leadership.
a leadership vacuum. Thank you for that wording. And the President's Council, for the past couple of years, I would assume that they would like to see this a designated. I don't want to speak for President's Council, but I could imagine the past couple of years has been trying for everybody, including the board and the President's Council, that stability would be, for this institution, would be important. So I think this is important to do, and there are time-sensitive things that absolutely need to happen, and while I believe it was Ramaswamy himself who said how community colleges pick presidents is up to them. Forgive me if I'm stating that wrong. But while this is unconventional, I am believing that this motion needs to pass. So, trustee Wagner, if you would like to say something, you have the floor.
Yes, I would. The whole process is detailed, and it's very important that we have continuous continuous management. I have 40 years' experience in leadership and management, and it's important that we do this. This is not a permanent position. This is an interim while some other board business is taken care of.
Okay. Calling for the vote. Those in the affirmative of the motion passing, say aye.
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 Those in the negative, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. The motion passes. Thank you. So, just for clarity, I intend to follow the same process that I did with trustee Banducci and, or not, what's his name, Dr. Savali, and try and get you the results of the contract negotiation as soon as possible before the board meeting. So that is my full intention.
Before the December 19th meeting?
That we're going to have that discussion as well. So with regards to this motion, I would like, let's see. Okay. I'm going to, President's contract, Board of Trustees support. Trustee Wagoner, would you please introduce your topic of discussion and what you would like to see accomplished with this board? In the board packet material, those on the internet, if anyone wants to follow. Trustee Wagoner, you have the floor to introduce this if you'd like, and there's something else I would like to say as well.
Thank you. There are a number of challenges that the board is working on, and as such, there may be volunteers who wish to assist or consultants. And so as a result of that, I did some, what I've done is put together a board volunteer analyst job description, which was on the website. Basically, my concern is that if we had someone helping us, it needs to all be formalized and approved through the through the regular process.
What's wrong with the current data analysts that are employed by North Idaho College?
And so as a result of that.
Could you please clarify the challenges?
Yes, but when you have the floor, please let him speak.
Well, it's an agenda item, and I'm a trustee, and I'm not aware of the challenges.
So anyway.
When you have the floor.
Mr. Wagner, hold on. Mr.
Trustee Banducci.
Trustee Zimmerman,
Yes.
can we at least be in agreement to be courteous enough to let someone at least introduce what they're talking about first? See if we get a motion in a second, then we can have the discussion and the questions. Just,
Sure, I'll try to do that.
There is a time for discussion.
So as a result of that, this is just asking the board to direct me to develop a process and a role, because there have to be legal constraints around it that have to be approved. We have to have things like non-disclosure, that type of thing. And so we need to do this. As I said, if you look at my resume, it's putting together projects. It's 45 years experience in Fortune 100 companies. And this is something that we need to do to have the resources to address the situation. So what we're looking at is board volunteer analyst duties and responsibilities. You can see it on the web: gathering and analyzing data, interpreting and gathered data, submitting reports to the Board of Trustees, finding patterns and trends, and that type of thing. In the second part of the thing, these are volunteers that are not paid.
If you could lean into the mic, Trustee Wagoner, if you would.
These are volunteers, not paid positions.
Is there anything else you want to say, or may I have a turn speaking?
Excuse me?
May I have a turn speaking, or do you want to keep going?
I wanted to keep going for just a moment. So to explain, the goal is to provide requested information to the board to support its duties as prescribed by law. And then just say that the analyst works with NIC College trustees staff to collect and interpret data, and it goes on from there. But so they would work with the staff, they would be officially recognized. They would not be paid except for any incidental expenses. That's it. So again, analyst duties and responsibility. Responsible for generating reports and correcting any data issues and problems that may arise, other duties and or responsibilities that the Analysts will undertake regularly include gathering and analyzing data, interpreting gathered data, submitting reports to the Board of Trustees, finding patterns and trends in the analyzed data, and assuring that collected data is kept confidential and appropriate as per the board.
So
Do this already.
So volunteer position, expenses paid, would want NIC email because it would all have to be done publicly. And probably maybe a parking pass, non-disclosure, that's it.
Trustee Wagoner, may you entertain a question?
Yes.
So this is not to circumvent any channels of communication. This is your idea of bringing the community into their community college?
That is correct.
We're all here and you wouldn't even let us talk tonight.
That's wonderful.
Why would you let them analyze the data if we can't
And
even talk?
Trustee Zimmerman, so that is a, not motion, we'll just move to discussion if there's unanimous consent. This is the discussion period.
I would like to know what challenges there are that the Board of Trustees is facing that is so important to get a volunteer. And I also would like to know how will this volunteer, if we move forward with it, which I expect we will because I am outnumbered, how will we delineate on who actually takes on this role? Are we going to keep getting our friends in here to take on these roles? So there's two questions. One, the challenges. Two, and the method with which we will decide upon who will take on that role.
Trustee Zimmerman, you did see Art's memo before the meeting, yes?
He sent a lot of memos. Which one?
I'm with you. Well, I actually wanted to include the memo in the board packet.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
Wait, the one that you handed me right before the meeting started? No, I'm serious. Is that the one? Because you did hand me one right before the meeting.
Yeah.
And there was probably another one. So please give me the memo, a copy of it, so I can know which one you're talking about.
The one you sent, yes.
Wait, why don't you include things you want to include anyway?
Trustee, that was the memo I sent you yesterday by email. I sent it to the whole board.
And he passed the bar in Idaho.
So in terms of the memo, there's a few things on here. Unpaid volunteers shall be hired based solely on their ability to accomplish the assigned projects described in a written job description that includes qualifications compiled by a designated trustee. They're going unpaid.
So with unanimous consent, the Board of Trustees, do we waive attorney-client privilege for the memo provided by Attorney McNamara when it comes to like whether these unpaid volunteers are able, that we're able to do this? Because when you propose this idea, so I think it's pretty vanilla. No, it's to fellow trustees. With unanimous consent, this memo prepared by Attorney McNamara is attorney-client privilege is released, and we shall work to get this memo into the board packet and in future ones when we go to discuss this.
My first question has not been addressed yet.
Okay, well, in that memo, now that we can talk about it, and that states, if you read 332107, general powers of the Board of Trustees, the Board of Trustees of each community college district shall have the power, ... and then if you go to bullet number 2, to employ legal counsel and other professional and non-professional persons, and to prescribe their qualifications. So that is what you prescribed, I believe, is their qualifications job in the job description and what they would be doing. And Attorney McNamara provided some recommendations on best practices, such as unpaid volunteers must sign a strict non-disclosure agreement that is permanent. Unpaid volunteers shall be hired based solely on their ability to accomplish the assigned project, described in a written job description that includes qualifications compiled by a designated trustee. Unpaid volunteers, when on campus, shall be treated for insurance purposes like any other visitors, and shall only gain access to information or non-public areas of the campus after a written, this is important because we are not trying to circumvent any chain of commands, and it's very respectful, after a written pre-clearance from a designated board member of trustees given to the cabinet official designated to control such information and areas. So it's a collaboration with everyone. We're just trying to bring the community into the community college. So the unpaid volunteers shall not enter classes and sessions or administrative meetings to which they are not invited, nor shall they act as to otherwise disrupt college operations. Unpaid volunteers, when off campus, shall be liable for insurance purposes like any other member of the public and will depend on their own insurance by contract with NIC. Unpaid volunteers shall not be authorized to act on behalf of the college or the Board of Trustees, except those actions necessary to gather information and compile it for the board use as directed in writing by a designated member of the board. Unpaid volunteers shall work for the Board of Trustees for no longer than 1 year, and a term of 6 months must elapse before that same unpaid volunteer is hired again. So those are merely recommendations from our attorney. However we want to bring about this as a board is up for discussion today. And there are some ideas going back to professional and non-professional persons. I believe you have an idea for a professional person to hire. Do you want to talk on that topic now?
Chair
Or
McKenzie,
Trustee Banducci?
may I say something?
Unless it's to the crowd, no.
Oh, it's just to the other trustees.
Okay.
If they're curious, and particularly Trustee Zimmerman, in case she's wondering. First time I've seen all this too. So for anybody that might be influencing you that thinks that I'm somehow orchestrating this, I'm not. I haven't, it's the first time I've seen it also.
But we got this in our email, so I'm not really sure why you say it's the first time you've seen it. What are you
Because
looking
I
at that
checked
I'm not
email
seeing?
This is
at my
report back.
office today at about
Okay, I
2
got it.
o'clock and was doing a couple other things and then raced here. And I'm kind of like what you were talking about, piles and other emails and handouts. So I had to dig and find it. And first time I've read the memorandum too.
Okay,
So just for clarity.
yeah, sure, I know, it came
So,
in a
just
little
so
bit
in case
before the
anybody-
one on Sabali
Yeah,
did,
just in
but
case
I
somebody's
get it.
speaking out of their ignorance, I just want you to know the truth.
Every day you do it, Todd.
Careful there.
So these individuals would be subject to the board conduct policy, I would think.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I still have
yes.
not heard about the challenges that we're facing. I've asked 3 times now, what are the challenges that the Board of Trustees are facing? And Trustee Wagner, you started it off, so please answer.
We need
There-
to understand, especially for those of us who are new, more information and exactly how the college is operating.
I don't need
For
that
ex-
kind of.
For example,
you're-
I would like to speak. So the audit, in answer to your question, Trustee Zimmerman, for the audit that I was going to bring in, I was going to bring 2 community members with me to come discuss the audit. I invited. They actually did want to come, and they're not from the Central Committee. And, but it was deemed not in the best interest to make that happen. And to be honest, I thought that it would, I thought it would be good for everyone involved to be able to make that happen. And these people are very interested in helping NIC. A lot of people in this community love NIC.
You?
And so as Board of Trustees, I interpret some of our responsibilities as help the community be a part of their community college. And I see heading in this direction. So I think we would need to amend the board conduct policy to allow for this position, which is not on the agenda. And so to accomplish that,
Mr. Chairman, what I need to do, I think, is I just put some notes together for a motion, and I'd like to clarify what I was hoping to achieve tonight.
please do clarify.
Okay, very simple. We want some assistance, and it's a motion to have the board direct me to develop a volunteer analyst role. Right now, we're not doing any hiring. We need to identify it. There's much more that needs to be done. And what I would do is return with that role. If the board approves it, then we can talk about people applying for it and filling them.
I think the only challenges this board faces is we are under the direction of an attorney that was unlawfully put in place, and he's providing, excuse me, he's providing bad guidance. I myself feel that even being at this meeting is somewhat unlawful, and every vote that I take, puts me in the position of questioning myself. Am I even committing an illegal act by being here and making a motion or putting out a vote saying yay or nay? It puts me in a very bad position. So if this board is going to do anything, they need to step back and remove Mr. McComber and get a proper attorney hired properly.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci, please speak into the mic.
I would like to second the motion and begin discussion on the motion. I'm amazed how much discussion we have before we even got to the second to the motion to then hit discussion. So I second the motion, and in discussion, if I'm understanding the motion, all you're asking is for the board to authorize you to try to put this together in a way that you feel comfortable with, that you can then present back to the board at a future date to have more of the details fleshed out and something that we could consider and identify how we would use this as a tool to support and help the board. Am I understanding that's basically what you're asking for? We're not voting to approve anything tonight. We're not hiring anybody. We're just giving you authorization for this.
You are correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And you have it
Chair
written down,
McKenzie.
maybe you can hand to me?
Chair McKenzie,
Trustees.
respectfully, Dr. Swain had things in place to give us good new trustees, education and training on how to be good trustees and how to deal with all of these perceived challenges that we need a volunteer to help us with. There are people that are qualified to do that, and I believe this community and these trustees need that professional level of service, not some volunteer that will probably just be approved, not qualified, not a resume, not a deliberation. And I go back to what I said before. I think this whole thing is probably unlawful.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci,
I call the question.
call the question. I also know that the appointed board removed Robert's Rules of Order and that they are mere guideline. So the motion on the table is to have the board develop a policy on unpaid volunteers and report back to the board. I appreciate you for volunteering to do this work, and I look forward to see a policy that you have and what needs to amend to make this happen. And those in support of seeing the community come into their community college, in support of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay.
I will abstain from this vote.
Abstain from this vote, okay. The motion passes. Thank you. So, Board of Trustees support. Did Trustee Wagner, you mentioned to me somebody that you would like to receive training from as a board. Would you like to discuss that now, or should we save that for another time?
Chair
Why don't we-
McKenzie, I've been
I
standing
think now
here
is a
for
great time.
38 minutes. May I be recognized?
Can we recognize this woman that's been standing here
For
at the
38
podium?
No,
No.
Why? I'm public. I am a citizen, an
All
alumni.
right, we
a
can move
former
forward.
employee
So I have a motion
the
that I would like for
public.
the next agenda topic. Trustee Wagner, we are welcome to
So you
go
don't
back
want a
to
standing
the Board of
legislature?
Trustees support. So we're on the agenda topic of chain of command. Let me look for my,
Sir, I've been standing here.
so I motion that directs NIC to have a written plan or policy in place formally delineating the chain of command, and that it be presented to the Board of Trustees
Is that Hitler
at the next, as soon as possible. There's a lot. I plan to propose, I motion that directs NIC to have a written plan or policy in place formally delineating the chain of command and have NIC propose that to the board as soon as possible.
Can you please say that one more time? I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't either.
I motion to direct the NIC administration to have a written plan or policy in place formally delineating the chain of command and having NIC propose that to the board as soon as reasonably possible.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci,
I will second that motion and like to begin the discussion.
discussion is alive. Please.
Now, I've not, I don't know, I don't know what the, I don't, wow, seriously.
Can we have her removed?
Would you like a recess?
No, I'd like her removed. I'd like security to remove her from the podium.
Security,
Remove her.
no. Todd, if you would let me do crowd control.
She's out of turn. You're out of order, ma'am.
I don't want to get into that. I think I have to say something to her.
If I'm understanding I'd like clarification on your motion and the purpose of what we're doing. When we talk about chain of command, it makes me think of like in the military where we have if this person, then this person, this person. That's what you're looking for, right?
That's what I'm looking for.
This person's unavailable.
If I can have the floor back.
If the governor's gone, the lieutenant governor's in charge. Similar type thing.
Along those
We're
lines.
just looking for who's next in the chain of command.
Yes.
And availability.
And it would be, ideally, President Swain would have something written, or the co-leads now would maybe, if they have time, but I'll leave it to them just as a desire of the board. But what comes to mind is when President McClellan was dismissed without cause, that we had to enter into negotiations with an acting president, a VP of instructions, and that negotiations, I guess, caught this board by surprise. And that I think this would facilitate future boards if they ever find themselves in a similar situation to a year ago, and whoever this chain of command, that expectations are clearly conveyed of this person, and we can change it from chain of command to so going back to that's what from my experience. If you recall that, Trustee Banducci, that we.
I think you're just looking for a smooth transition of command
A smooth transition of command.
in different areas.
Ideally, we would always have a president, or if the president goes on vacation. I understand that the president recently went on vacation again and verbally conveyed somebody to be
Writing.
Chairman
in
Kenzie?
writing.
Chairman Kenzie, isn't there already something in place? I mean, most institutions have something in place already. Is there not something already in place?
There's not.
No?
There's not.
Is there somebody here? Sarah?
There is not a policy that exists that defines who is in charge when the president is gone. Historically, the president has made that decision when they leave based on the circumstances and who is available or not available at the time. Dr. Swain asked me to stand in for him while he went out of the country, and he communicated that via our internal Teams chat mechanism to the entire president's cabinet.
So, gosh, maybe that would be a good choice instead of doing all this.
That's what I'm
Let's have her
trying
do that.
to achieve. To just
Okay.
have a written, that was my motion. If
Okay,
I want to use your words, if I may, and even recall my own motion.
okay.
I motion to develop a policy when the president is gone and when the next chain of command is gone. And maybe, I don't know how far down we want to go, of maybe 4 people or something like that. Just if there's ever a situation.
What did you do last time?
What did we do
When
last time? A
when
year ago?
McLennan- Yeah, when you fired McLennan?
Well,
We made the vice president of instruction the acting president.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
vary by situation.
Could, Trustee Banducci, could we not do something similar to that? I mean, it seems to me that everything's so urgent and emergency. Why wait for a policy to be developed when I kind of feel like we need somebody at this moment to step into that role? So, go ahead.
we do have 2 people who have stepped forward, and that was mutually agreed upon President's cabinet, and I believe that's going great. So this is just to formalize it, really this chain of command would be currently decided by the co-lead acting presidents in the president's stead. But when this interim president or President Swain comes back, then naturally they would propose their version of this policy of the chain of command in this stead. It's just to prepare the college and to just always be at the ready.
Okay.
So to be clear, I think this motion is good enough as is. Motion to develop a policy when the president is gone by the NIC administration. Is that good enough? By the NIC co-leads? Do you care? I don't care. Okay. Okay, so that's my motion. Can I have a second, please?
I already did second and opened the discussion.
Excellent. We'll roll with it. I call for the question unless Trustee Zimmerman or anyone wants to. The vote? Okay, all those in affirmative of developing a policy when the president is gone by the NIC co-leads, say aye.
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 I abstain.
And those against, and 1 abstain. Motion passes. So, not to add more to your plate, forgive us, but it is important to clarify this. So, moving on to the action discussion of the military drive rental properties. It concerns me that Widmeyer's rental company was renting to himself some of the properties. And additionally, I would like to know, I feel, the reason why I put this agenda topic on there is I feel like the board needs to have a discussion with the future plans of the military drive properties before rental agreements are signed. So I'm not opposed to renting them out. It'd be nice to know if there's interest and what that interest is so far, but before the community is offered these rentals, I would like the board to have more of a discussion with what they want with those properties. That's my intent of introducing this action discussion, military drive properties. Trustee Banducci.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair, I will second that for discussion. It would seem I could see the value in having this discussion since the board is tasked as fiduciaries. We have the oversight on property acquisitions. And at the bigger level, on the budget and the impacts that these properties may or may not have on the budget. So it would be good to review our real estate portfolio and think about in our long-term goals, what we want to do with them. So it'd be good to have a discussion to understand the properties that we have in place.
Thank you. Sarah Garcia, you're recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was not informed what this discussion was about, so I did not have time to prepare anything for the board. But I would like to share with you that that only 4 of the 8 properties that we have are currently unoccupied and available to rent. My discussion with the property management company was that I am asking for a month-to-month lease for a maximum of 6 months at this point. So based on the fact of understanding and knowing how long it takes to make a plan and get things put together, that it would be safe to say that for 6 months, we could rent these properties out. That gives the college and the board time to make plans for those properties in that area between now and then.
Mr. Chair.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Trustee Banducci.
Well, thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Great job. A couple of quick questions.
Yes,
So we have the 8 properties. We have
Yes.
4 that we've talked about putting up for lease rental.
Yes.
The other 4 are occupied right now?
One is not, 2 are occupied. One of the properties, the home on that property was demolished.
Is that because
Years
the water
ago.
damaged or?
No, that's the one at the end of
Okay.
the street. And then there is one that was damaged due to a water leak last winter.
Okay.
And it is essentially sticks inside, so it's not rentable.
Not trying to pick at a scab here, but we had a couple that I think had a little bit of water damage. Was one pretty minor and that's been repaired and that's been
Yes, sir.
rented? But the other one was a little more
It
extensive?
has been repaired. It has not been re-rented, but it has been repaired.
Okay, so the one salvageable, one was not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, no, that was just discussion. So I have one more topic that I believe kind of puts us in.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci.
we believe we have a motion and a second on the military drive rental properties. I think we may need to take a vote on your motion, sir.
Well, if there was a motion, I retract it and I
Okay.
recommend everyone else. What I heard sounded wonderful and good job.
I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And going back to the topic of action discussion for the president's contract, these negotiations, the sooner the board can accomplish its business and establish it, the better. Looking at the calendar and what's going ahead of us. Let me get back on the internet. The next board meeting is when? December 19th. So I would like to move the board meeting up to mid next week, if that's fine. That is, I believe actually that week I was the only one who's a conflict. And
No, Corbel had conflict as well.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Banducci.
actually, Mr. Corkle was traveling the 7th through the 11th to Colorado to see his son who's in the guard down there.
And look what you do while he's gone, while his son is serving, he's flying his last flight with his son.
Please ignore the crowd, Trustee Banducci, if you keep going.
Such a military man, yet when Brad is celebrating his son's retirement from the military, you held these meetings. That's embarrassing. You don't really care about the military, do you?
Todd, do you have something to say? Or have you, as far as the motion? Ignore her, she's an idiot.
So I propose that we take a recess of 5 minutes.
No.
And during that resource, Attorney McNamara, maybe you can,
I don't.
No, but someone gave me that number once, because back in 2018, I said, hi, it's Laura Roper. Here, we just do this. They just texted me, nice job. I don't, how did they
Hey
get
Todd,
this?
why did you get to go on your final flight, but as
don't
soon
know.
as Brad wanted to celebrate with his son, you tried to stop him from doing it?
Almost midnight, Todd.
Let me just do this.
You need another recess.
I don't think I'm gonna fit into the glass slipper.
What?
So I don't think I'm gonna fit into the glass slipper.
We'll stay here as long as you guys do, we don't have a problem.
Probably.
Keep laughing, Todd. That smile looks nice on you, you should do more often.
Do you need another recess?
Mr. Chair,
Trent, you need to go to recess?
would,
The Learning Center has toys.
emerging information from contract information that's necessitated.
It's fun to watch you guys pivot in real time.
Okay.
When Todd was doing a salient
Board
argument,
motions,
yeah,
agenda,
times.
board motions, and actions and results necessitate sooner action.
Are you guys deliberating right now?
Okay.
You're on the mic.
Not just yet, but I'm getting there. Just hang on. If you want to have a recess, I would have more time.
Yeah, we will have a recess for 7 minutes to be precise, so recess for 7 minutes. The meeting is commencing. Okay. Going back to the president's contract. So according to Idaho Code 74-204-4 and C, we are able to amend the agenda for today. And the reason I'm making the following motion is because the college needs to move forward, and this is not an original agenda item. It is definitely, hopefully, if this motion passes, in the Board of Trustees' best interest of the college to move forward in a time-critical session to provide leadership to this college. The board had no idea Dr. Sabali would decline following this meeting's board agendas formulation, and also ongoing board motions passed at this board meeting that necessitate this date change. So there is a lack of leadership at the college, and we need to move forward with this. So I motion to move the December 19th meeting to December 15th. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there discussion?
Well, Trustee Corkle is not here, and I have a previous engagement on that evening. Can we maybe have a different night? Or why can't we just go to December 19th? It's already on my calendar, as I'm sure it is Brad's.
Because there is time critical things that need to happen. And I know that we can host the meeting in this room. I've cleared that already and in preparation. And there is essential key timings that need to happen for this board's work to continue, to necessitate the investigation, to clear up any possible open meeting law violations. And I also want to state my commitment. I read, this is part of the discussion now, so I read a investigative report put out by the Inspector AG Office of Idaho. I'll list it. I have it planned here. The investigative report dated August 3rd of 22, report of alleged violations of the Idaho open meeting law. This report is the result of an investigation into an open meetings complaint referred to this office by the Ada County prosecutor between the Idaho Freedom Foundation and the Central District Health Board. And I actually believe that in open meeting law, hearing may be appropriate for this board. And I know this side of the board a lot better than that side, and I look forward to getting to know you and working with you. And but of the individuals that I know, thank you. Okay, going back to the discussion, this is the discussion for amending the agenda to add changing the regular board meeting date. So that we are taking back, this is just the discussion about amending the agenda. So all those in favor of passing the motion to amend the agenda to have one more discussion item, that's action discussion, listed as action discussion, amend next regular board meeting, calling the question. All those in favor say aye.
I did have another question. I thought at the beginning of the meeting we weren't allowed to alter the agenda. So how are we altering the agenda now when, Mr. McComber, you told us clearly that we weren't allowed to do that?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Zimmerman, and I encourage you to reach out to me at any time on questions you might have. Idaho Code Section 74, Idaho Code Section 74-206 sub 4 allows an agenda to be changed at a meeting, but there are 3 criteria that have to be met, and Mr. McKenzie just read them. You have to state the reason for the change. You have to have a good faith reason for the change. And then you need to declare an emergency that requires the agenda to be changed at this meeting. And so that was in the motion as stated by Mr. McKenzie. And so,
So
that's,
the emergency is,
To address the leadership at the college in a time-critical way. So this is just to amend the meeting to, and then enter in discussion on what date it would change to.
Okay.
So, calling the question, it's calling the question. Those in favor of amending the agenda today, say aye.
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 I'll abstain.
Okay, the motion passes. The agenda has been amended to have an action discussion of changing the regular board meeting date for December. There's a reason that this fire alarm is being called right now, everyone. This is time-critical business for North Idaho College, and we will not be stopped. Everyone, please exit the room in the safety protocol and be respectful and be safe and take care of yourself. Meeting recessed. Okay, this meeting is reconvened. Thank you for everyone for sticking around even through the multiple fire alarms. I would just like to read Title 18, Crimes and Punishments, Chapter 67, Communications Security. False alarms, complaints, reports, penalties, civil damages. Any person calling the number 911 for the purposes, or I'm going to skip through it. Information result in the emergency response of any firefighting, police, medical, or any other emergency service shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction thereof shall be sentenced to a fine of not to exceed $1,000, or to a term of not to exceed 1 year in the county jail, and to both such fine and imprisonment. So I hope that those who are pulling this fire alarm, that NIC receives the proper assistance to properly deal with this, and I look forward to the board report of what actions were done to the people who were pulled the fire alarm. Going back to board business, I motion to change the regular board meeting to either December. I'm going to say, I'm a motion to change the December regular board meeting to December 15th. And that's my motion. If we have a second, then we can go to discussion.
Second for discussion.
Thank you, Trustee Wagner. There are many things on my mind that are working board business, and not necessarily that I can say right now in a public setting, but I would say that the public, this is straight off the cuff, unprepared remarks, but from what I'm reading of open meeting laws, our agenda formulation, at least for the past 2 years, under Attorney Mark Lyons, is, anyway, we look forward to improving our agenda formulation, and I have already drafted the December 15th agenda to where I plan to what I'm considering is, while it's not, how do I say it? Nobody wants to admit that a mistake was made, but if out of an abundance of caution, I am willing to have a discussion on open meeting law violations and work to cure any resolutions or any open meeting law violations that are there. So that agenda is to follow, and we're working at a rapid pace to make that agenda happen, and it is time critical and time sensitive that we move this agenda forward. So Thursday is my proposed date, and in discussion, it is so critical that I plan to even modify my travel arrangements, because there is a risk that I may even be absent for this board meeting on Zoom. So hopefully I can modify my travel arrangements and make it back, but we may start 6 p.m. to give me that time.
Chair, may I speak?
Trustee Zimmerman.
I understand your sense of urgency to move to have another meeting before December 19th. And just to be clear, this is a special meeting, not moving the December 19th meeting.
It is December, the regular board meeting.
So we are moving the regular board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
48-hour notice is one of those.
Okay, well, it is Saturday. As I stated earlier, I have a previous engagement on Thursday evening, and I believe that if it is so important that we need to have the meeting moved up, I'm available Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
If it was possible without violating open meeting laws and agenda formulation and that kind of stuff, I would choose those days. But I don't have the time to.
But what,
to do
you
that.
said 48 hours. Can you help me understand that part? Because today's Saturday, right? Sunday, Monday.
So
So Monday is probably, well, what time is it?
there is work and time and preparation that I need to do that does not make Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday feasible. And if I may have the discussion back, is there anything else you want to say?
Well, then maybe we could move it to Friday or Saturday.
That would be the
And should we
opposite
not call
direction.
I'm sorry, not call Brad Corkle, trustee Corkle, to see if he can even modify his schedule?
Trustees Zimmerman, with all due respect, you are the one to take off F from the executive session. And maybe, no. This board is trying to conduct business. We're trying to converse amongst each other. There are things that this board needs to do, and a very time-critical thing that I would have conveyed to you in that meeting that would help you understand the sense of urgency before me and what's going on in my mind. And there's one more thing too. If we had the November board meeting, if you recall, this board had it December 5th. So yes, there was weather, but first off, there's been board meetings on the day of graduation of this year. Where there's a will, there's a way. We've had board meetings with more snow. So we could have had it online. Shoot, Trustee Wagner even showed up for that board meeting because it wasn't properly communicated to him that it wasn't going on. There was no justification proven. It was unilaterally done, and this new elected board has only experienced obstacles, and that this board will get business done, no matter how unruly the crowd is. I would also like to say, and I would appreciate if the newspapers would cooperate with this request. There is a majority of one side of division in our community that is being disruptive in this board meeting. May no one else introduce any more division or board disruption. If the one side does something and disrupts a board meeting, may the other side do not disrupt a board meeting or do not. Okay, this is a board. We are trying to work. Each one of us won an election to get done and represent our people. So we are trying to do our best. I encourage everyone to just stay calm, and just for those who are being unruly, just let them demonstrate their bad behavior and move forward. Trustee Banducci.
Mr. Chair. Have you, I want to, can you repeat your motion? You made a motion?
My motion is to move the regular board meeting to December 15th.
December 15th, Thursday. Was there a second to that motion?
May we have it second?
Yes.
I believe there was, and I believe
I
Trustee
seconded
Wagner.
it.
Thank you, Trustee Wagner.
I call for the vote.
The call for the vote. I would just like to say, as chair, one more thing. Trustee Zimmerman, it doesn't even need to be said. People can hold their elected officials for not showing up and participating in board business for as much as they want. So I would just like to say that I would like to commend Trustee Banducci for showing up to the legislative send-off to network on behalf of NIC. I myself and Trustee Banducci was there, and it was a wonderful time meeting with our new batch of legislators. We have many new legislators who are going down to the Legislative House, and having their support helps NIC. It helps having the legislative support helps NIC.
Military service as well, and it's not your own, you're not impressed.
The motion as before us is to move the regular board meeting to December 15th, which is Thursday. That we're going to call the question, or the question has been called. All those in the affirmative of moving the regular board meeting to December 15th, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the motion passes. There's a regular board meeting December Thursday. And I would just like to say one more thing.
Her vote?
Nay.
Oh, so nay.
That thank you to the IT staff, to the full staff that holds these board meetings. On behalf of our board, I want to apologize for having so many board meetings to conduct board business. Thank you for your sacrifice for your Saturday evenings. I know the extraordinary dedication, appreciation that NIC employees have for this community, for this board of trustees. Getting to know you has been an honor of a lifetime, and encouraging trust of your community college, and the employees who work here is a goal of mine, and it's amazing to actually see the community relations improve, though we have a lot of people protesting in our own board meeting. Okay.
They gave you a resolution on there way in the door today. Their college, not yours.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning the student resolution. That there is a response that if any of the trustees would like to speak to that, I would just like to say that I absolutely value ASNIC. When I was in college, I did not prioritize that engagement with the student body, and you actually have a chance to influence things at this college. More power than you realize, and I look forward to working with you to actually help you utilize all of that influence and positive change that you can do for this college. And anytime that your ASNIC community wants support from me and how I can do that, please reach out to me. So, okay, and in preparation for this meeting, Attorney McAmer sent the board words that he would like to say at our board meeting. And I believe without objection, would we allow Attorney McAmer to say those words that he emailed, or would you like to silence our attorney?
I do object to what he has to say because I disagree with what he has to say. And I think it's hypocritical what he is about to say. However, there are a lot of people here tonight. They came here to listen to our meeting and to participate in their government. So I think it's, go ahead, say it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Trustee Zimmerman.
Of course.
Many of us depend and have depended on the Coeur d'Alene Press to be an objective, fact-based newspaper organization, giving this community true information so that the community can know what is going on. I am concerned that the Coeur d'Alene Press is telling half the story in order to sell newspapers, advance an agenda, or to increase divisiveness in our community. For example, in this morning's paper on the front page above the fold, I was quoted as saying 2 things, when in reality at the last meeting I said 3. In short, the press quoted me in the paper this morning as saying, "We don't care what people think, we don't care what you feel," unquote. This makes me appear like a cold-blooded Scrooge. However, my actual statement was in a greater context about what is important to attorneys. The 3 things I actually stated at the meeting were, we don't care what people think, we don't care what you feel, we care about your conduct. In short, so that's quote unquote. In short, if you think of something good for the community, let your conduct reflect it. If you feel something should be done for the good of the community, then act upon it. Otherwise, what you think or what you feel matter very little. It is by the fruits of one's conduct that one should be known. This not only applies to me, but hopefully the Coeur d'Alene Press. Thank you.
And In closing, I'm going to have the liberty as chair to say some words. Thank you to the President's Council for working in harmony and collaboration and choosing your co-leads. Thank you for rallying at this time to keep the college business afloat and to keep it going great. Thank you to those who are supporting this meeting. When your disruption occurs, when you pull the fire alarm, it only hurts yourselves because this community works for you. It only hurts the people who work at this college and run these meetings. It only hurts your board of trustees conduct business, but business will not stop. Business will succeed. This board of trustees will succeed for its community, which we love. This board of trustees looks forward to solving the issues ahead of it. This board of trustees looks forward to getting to know all of our community, even those that disagree with us. The meeting is adjourned.